In this video, I'm going to go over every single quest for the Orc and Troll starting zone. Now, I've got some friends that don't like to watch anything until it's completely done. So this is a compilation video of all the episodes that I've done regarding Durotar and the Echo Islands. Specifically for those who like to watch everything in one go. And for those of you who skipped reading the quests and now you want to know what happened, then sit back and relax and find out what you missed in World of Warcraft. We're going to kick this off with the Horde in the Valley of Trials. This is the starting area for the Orcs and the Trolls, and according to Wowhead, we have 17 quests. Really, there's a bit more, but we're gonna go with whatever Wowhead says just to keep this simplified. So when you start off, you meet this orc named Kaltunk or Kaltunk or whatever, and he tells you to go talk to this guy named Gornek. So you go up to Gornek and he tells you that you're not the best, but you're gonna do for now. He also tells you that you're not ready to go into the Barrens, and he wants you to go practice by killing about 6 boars. So you head up, you kill 6 boars, you come back down. Gornek says, hey, good job, but you're gonna be fighting tougher things. He also tells you that there's a group of humans that have infiltrated the valley, and this is in violation of the peace treaty that they started with Jaina Proudmoore. So he wants you to go kill 7 of them, which you do, no problem. After which he wants you to go kill some scorpions so you can get their stingers and make some antidotes for the people in the valley, because I guess a lot of people are getting stung. Also, you meet up with this guy named Galgar who wants you to go pick cactus apples so he can make for you cactus apple surprise, which will help you combat the heat. So you head out to go kill the scorpions, you pick the cactus apple, and then you head back to report. Gornek is done teaching you whatever he wanted to teach you, and you're done with him for now. And Gallagher thanks you for picking the cactus apple and gives you the cactus apple surprise. Then you run into this guy named Foreman Thazril, and he says that a lot of his peons who were chopping down trees are sleeping on the job. So he wants you to give him a little bit of motivation by smacking him over the head with a blackjack and getting him back to work. You also meet this orc named Zeretha, and Zeretha says that there's a cave up north with these demons that are part of this thing called the Burning Blade. This is the beginning of the main storyline in the Valley of Trials. And just when you're about to head out, you run into this troll named Kanaga. And Kanaga says that his friend went out looking for something in the valley, but he hasn't returned yet, and he wants you to go find him. So you head out of the area, you go smack a couple peons in the head, you head north to the cave and kill a couple of demons, and then you run into a troll who doesn't seem to be doing so well. His name is Hanazura, and he was fighting a scorpion named Sarkoth. Now what happened in this battle is he was going for an attack, and Sarkoth grabbed his leg with his claw and took a stinger and gouged it into his chest. So Hanazura is down for the count, and he wants you to go kill Sarkoth and bring back the claw as proof that you did it so you can uphold his honor. So you kill Sarkoth, you come back to Hanazura, and he's really happy that you did whatever you did. But he also wants you to go tell Gornek to send help. So you head back into town, you tell Thazril that his peons are back to work and he's pretty happy with you. Gornek is pretty impressed that you killed Sarkoth, and he tells you not to worry about Hanazura and that they're gonna dispatch help right away. Zeretha tells you the demons you killed at the entrance of the cave in the north were merely pets of the Burning Blade. She now wants you to go inside the cave and kill this one guy holding a medallion of power, which will start to vanquish all of the Burning Blade stuff that's going on inside. Thazril overhears this conversation, and he says he was doing a survey in that mine and left his pickaxe in there, and that when he went back to go get it, there was a bunch of beasts and he couldn't get it, so he's asked you to go get it for him. So you head up north, you go into the cave, you kill a bunch of things, you find Thazril's pickaxe, and then you kill this big dude and get the medallion, and you head back into town. Thazril's super happy that he got his pickaxe back, and he says that he hopes the peons and him can go into the cave and do some mining later on. Zeretha's really happy that you brought back the medallion, but she also mentions that this isn't the last time we're going to hear about the Burning Blade. She tells you that your trials against the Burning Blade are now finished in the valley, and she wants you to report your findings to a troll named Master Gadrin located in the village of SEN'JIN. You're to go there and tell him that the Burning Blade has infiltrated the Valley of Trials, and she also tells you to find out if the Burning Blade has infiltrated the village of SEN'JIN. So you make your way out of the Valley of Trials and head for the village to find out more about the Burning Blade. Now, SEN'JIN Village is a town located on the southern region of Durotar. It has 6 quests as compared to the 17 that you did in the Valley of Trials, and I'm sorry I spoke so quickly through those, but we just needed to get through them. So things are going to slow down a bit from here. Once you get to SEN'JIN Village, you're going to find that there's 3 trolls you're going to be able to talk to. Master Gadrin, who you were instructed to talk to about the Burning Blade, Bombay the Witch Doctor, and Lar Praltusk, who doesn't like to look at you, let alone anybody else. So let's kick this off with the Witch Doctor, Bombay. Now, Bombay's looking for crab mucus from the local crawlers in the area, and he wants to make you something with certain ingredients that he needs. So you end up running around the coast, killing all the crawlers until you get all the stuff that he wants. Now, when you return, Bombay wants you to go get some poison from the local scorpions in the area. Now, because the scorpions are really dangerous, he gives you this totem that'll suck up all the poison that the scorpions release. So you head out, you drop the totem down, the scorpions come over, they drop their poison, it sucks it up, and you get 6 of them. I'm not sure if it's vials or anything, it's just you get 6 of them. Upon returning to Bombay, you find out exactly what he's able to make for you. You ready for this one? All right. He makes you nothing, all right? No, he really makes you nothing. He gives you this list of things that he can cast on you, like this voodoo magic or something. Like one of the options is you get really big, or the other option is you shoot up into the sky and you float down. It's kind of pointless, but it happens. It's just a bunch of fun stuff. But moving on, the main person you end up talking to is Master Gadrin. You were told to report to him after completing the Valley of Trials. Gadrin says that the Burning Blade is no longer in SEN'JIN Village, so looks like we don't have to worry about them for right now. But Gadrin says that the Dark Spirit Trolls living in SEN'JIN Village need your help desperately. He says that the humans in Northwatch Hold have set up a camp, and Gadrin wants you to go mess them up a bit by taking out some of their suppliers. So you head out, you kill quite a few of them, and then you report back to Gadrin to find out what's going on. Now, Gadrin seems really worried about the humans setting up camp in Durotar. He doesn't want them there like everyone else. So he wants you to head deeper into the foothold and kill more humans to make sure that this isn't gonna happen. Let's take a look at Lar Prowltusk and exactly what's going on with this guy. All right, yeah, so he's upset that the humans are invading the land. So much that he just can't seem to look at anybody that he's talking to. But anyways, he says that there's these 3 scrolls that the humans are holding their attack plans on, and they're located in Northwatch Hold. Lars wants you to infiltrate the area and burn all 3 scrolls before the humans can finalize their plans and start killing all the trolls in SEN'JIN Village. So, you head out to the foothold, you burn all 3 scrolls that Lars wanted you to burn, you also kill 12 soldiers that Master Gadrin wanted you to kill. After completing these tasks, you head back to SEN'JIN Village. Lars still can't look at you for some reason, but nevertheless, he's really happy that you took out the scrolls. Says you've done a really good job for SEN'JIN today. Not only for SEN'JIN, but for all of Durotar. Master Gadrin is really happy that you took out 12 soldiers, but he fears that the humans aren't going anywhere. He says that we need to pass the word onto Razor Hill. He mentions that the humans can be defeated today, but tomorrow they'll come again. And when they do, we'll need help from the orcs. He tells you to speak to Jahash outside the gates of SEN'JIN Village. From there, Jahash gives you a ride to Razor Hill, where you'll look for the orc, Garthok, and inform him of the human invasion happening in the south. Now, Razor Hill is located north of SEN'JIN Village. I would like to tell you how many quests are in this area, but we've gotten to the point that they're all bleeding into different zones. Now, this is gonna be a common trend from here on out, so let's not worry about the numbers. Let's focus on the story. First off, let's meet the main people we're gonna be talking to. First up, we have Gale Nazywig, the very flirtatious goblin, Orgnil Soulscar, the investigator, and Garthok, the one orc that doesn't care about any other place but Razor Hill. You'll understand what I mean in a minute. So let's go ahead and start off with Garthok and see what he has to say about the human invasion in SEN'JIN Village. Now, upon finding Garthok, he says, screw SEN'JIN Village, we've got our own problems here. He says that SEN'JIN Village is close enough to the Echo Islands and also the Valley of Trials, and that there should be plenty of Youngbloods that can help him out with their problems. After that, Garthok starts talking about this place called Tiragard Keep. Now, you may not have seen it, but you passed this place when you were heading up to Razor Hill. Tiragard Keep used to be a place where the Coltiris lived for years. And yes, I'm talking about the Coltiris in the latest expansion. But the Cataclysm wiped out all of the humans in Tiragard Keep. Now the Northwatch residents are moving in to take their place. Garthok wants you to kill 6 Northwatch Marines, 6 Northwatch Sharpshooters, and a very narcissistic Lieutenant Palater. Gale Nazywig, however, has something else on her mind. She knows that Garthok is sending you out to Tiragard Keep, and she wants you to pick up 6 pieces of Coltiris treasure for her. So, you head out to Tiragard Keep, you kill the 12 different Northwatch humans that you needed to kill. You also pick up 6 pieces of Coltiris treasure for Gale. The last thing you do is confront Lieutenant Palater. Not much more I have to say about him. You get what kind of person he is. So you take him out, and you begin your journey back to Razor Hill. Garthok says that tales of your bravery will be heralded in Orgrimmar. And while Gale is grateful for the treasure, that's about it. You don't get much for helping her out, but Oh well. Garthok says that because the humans are out of their hair for a bit, we can move on to more pressing matters. The cataclysm utterly destroyed the eastern coast of Durotar and caused all the beaches to be overrun by angry elementals from the sea. Garthok sent grunts to take care of the situation, but it's proving to be way too much for them to handle. And here's where you come in. Garthok wants you to head to the coast and kill 12 elementals. But of course, Gale wants you to pick up some gnomish tools from the crashed ships on the shore. How she's finding out where you're going, who knows? I mean, she's pretty far away from the conversation you're having with Garthok, so you got me. I guess word travels really fast. So you head out to the eastern shore, you kill all of the elementals that needed to be killed. You also find all the gnomish tools that Gale wanted you to find. And while you're out there, you find the grunts that were sent out to deal with the problem that you're dealing with right now. And they are not in good shape. So you end up helping a few of them get back on their feet. After all of this is done, you head back to Razor Hill. Garthok can tell that you've been working really hard taking out all of the elementals. And he also says he'll pass word of your deeds up his chain of command. He also spoke to many of the grunts that you helped on the shore and commends your actions. Gale literally asks if her knight in shining armor has returned. She's grateful for the gnomish tools, and you get nothing for helping her out again. Nothing. Nothing at all. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, screw you, Gale. If anything, she mentions that her friend Thonk works at the guard tower northwest of Razor Hill, and that there's something about the river overflowing. We'll be speaking to Thonk about that later on. But let's not forget about our third person, Orgnil Solskar. And guess who's back? The Burning Blade. We first met the Burning Blade in the Valley of Trials, where they were kicking up a fuss. And remember in SEN'JIN Village when we didn't have to deal with them? Well, now we do. Orgnil was sent here to investigate the presence of the Burning Blade agents in Durotar. He mentions that there's a cave to the northeast where the Burning Blade train their recruits. And Orgnil is very interested in what they're teaching. Orgnil thinks that you're looking for work, so he wants you to go into the cave and retrieve 6 spell scrolls from the Burning Blade members. So you head out to Dustwind Cave, you kill some of the Burning Blade members for their scrolls, then you return to Orgnil to report. Orgnil says that the spells on the scrolls aren't much different than what's being taught to the Horde Warlocks, but he says that this merits further investigation. From here, he wants you to speak to Gore the Enforcer at the DRANOSH'AR blockade. Orgnil thinks that Gore would be interested in picking up this investigation. So now at this point you have 2 options. 1, go to DRANOSH'AR blockade and speak with Gore the Enforcer, or 2, head to the guard tower and speak with Gale's friend, Thonk. The choice is yours to explore. So upon reaching the North Guard Tower, you meet Gale's friend Thonk, and you quickly find out why he's head over heels for her. So Thonk asks you if Gale sent you and if she said anything about him. If you ask me, it looks like Gale uses whoever she wants and then dumps him off to the side, like she did to you. Anyways, Thonk says that the cataclysmic events have overflowed the South Fury River, making the entire western basin flooded. He says that there's still people out there, and he wants you to use his telescope to find any survivors. So you go over to the telescope and you find that there's 3 different survivors. Funny thing about Thonk, he doesn't know how to use his own telescope. So he's astonished to find out that the way you use a telescope is by putting your eye to the spyglass. Like, he seriously didn't know how to do that. And no wonder why Gale took advantage of him. So after he's done marveling about how to use his own telescope, he mentions to you that he cannot leave his post. Thonk wants you to head out into the western basin and rescue the 3 survivors that you found using the telescope. So you head out, but wait. You need to speak to Grimtack first. Grimtack is a butcher located near the entrance of Razor Hill, and he wants you to deliver some choice cuts of meat to a friend in Orgrimmar. And the best way of getting there is to take a Windrider. You end up talking to Burok, the flight master in Razor Hill, and make your way towards Orgrimmar. After landing, you find Grishka, the innkeeper. She's really happy that Grimtack made those cuts for her, so pretty much you just helped Grimtack make moves on Grishka because she tells you that he sure knows his way into a lady's heart. She writes a letter to Grimtack and thanks him and wants you to deliver it. So you go to Doris, the flight master in Orgrimmar, and you make your way back to Razor Hill. Upon arriving, Grimtack asks if she likes the cuts that he made for her. Well, the letter that you delivered, that says it all. So he hands you some money, thanks you for your service, and says, "Don't be surprised if I invite you to my wedding." Now this is when you decide to help the 3 survivors in the Western Basin. On your way out, you run into an orc named Takrin. Takrin thinks you're pretty strong, and he has a friend named Cargill who's looking for recruitees for duty in the Barrens. He says you know you want to do what's right for the Horde. He then instructs you to take the recruitment letter to Cargill and see if he'll sign it. We'll revisit that when we get to the Barrens, but for right now, let's finally find out what's going on in the Western Basin. First, you meet up with a really angry individual named Ragaran, and boy is he pissed off. He says that the local quillbore in the area are a stain on the land that not even the river can wash away. He was instructed to evacuate when the flooding happened, but he said that his job wasn't done. Now here's where you come in to help. Ragaran wants you to kill 4 Razormane quillbores and 4 Razormane scouts. So you head out to kill the 4 quillbores and the 4 scouts, and then you head back to Ragaran to report. Ragaran seems a bit calmer, until he starts talking about the quillbores again and erupts into a rage. Now he's just irate, and he wants you to kill all of them. Kill them all. Every single one of them. He directs you to their lairs located in the north and in the southwest. From here, you're to kill 5 Razormane Dust Runners and 5 Razormane Battle Guards. So you head out to the lairs, you kill 5 of the Dust Runners and 5 of the Battle Guards, and then you report back to Ragaran to see if he's a little bit calmer. And guess what? Ragaran's in a better mood. He says he's really sorry that you had to see him like that, and he also says that maybe you should leave before he flies into another rage. And that's a pretty good idea because who knows what he'll do on his next outburst. So we leave and make our way to Tentaji, a troll who really doesn't seem to need a lot of help. In fact, he's in no trouble at all. He's just been sitting there studying what happens when the river overflows. He says that the Planestrider birds were pushed back from the earthquake and the flood to this side of the river. They can't fly back, and they're too afraid to swim across the river back to the original side where they belong. The sad part is, Tentaji says that they'll die if they stay here. He doesn't like violence, but what he wants you to do is attack 3 Planestrider birds to scare them into running across the river. So you head out and you unfortunately attack some of the Planestriders, causing them to freak out and run to the other side of the river. Upon returning to Tentaji, he says he hates seeing you hurt the animals, but he knows that it has to be done to help them out. Tentaji says that a lot of the local creatures died when the water came rushing in, but the raptors thrived. They're clever, and they've been living off the misfortunes of the other creatures. One in particular is Screamslash. Now he's been known to kill animals and just leave them to rot in the water. I mean, he doesn't even eat them. Tentaji says that if we're not careful, Screamslash could disrupt the balance of nature. He wants you to head north and kill Screamslash so that he doesn't cause any more trouble. So you head up on north, you find the problem raptor. After that, you report back to Tentaji. He tells you that Screamslash wasn't always violent and irrational before the cataclysm happened. After that, Tentaji resumes his studies while you move on to find the 3rd survivor in the Western Basin, Misha Torgrin. Now Misha has a son named Kron. Kron died when he went on a crocolisk hunt. Misha mentions that Kron was very brave, but he wasn't strong like you. It's now the anniversary of Kron's death, and Misha wants to make a necklace out of crocolisk teeth so that she can put on Kron's grave. Thing is, she wants 250 teeth. I mean, you don't mind helping her out. I mean, you've helped everyone else out, but man, 250 teeth is a lot. So you head out to fight all the crocolisks and rip their teeth out until you have 250 of them. Man, that's a lot of teeth. When you return to Misha, she's really grateful that you got those for her. She mentions that she made a hunting bag for Kron before he died, and that she has no need for it now, so she hands it over to you. After helping the 3 survivors in the Western Basin, you return all the way back to Thonk in the Northern Guard Tower. Thonk says that he used that trick that you taught him. You know, the one where you put your eye to the spyglass to see into the telescope? Yeah. Anyways, he says that he watched you through the telescope running around helping people out in the basin. And that's it. I mean, you get some experience for it, but that's really all. I mean, it completely makes you feel taken advantage of, but you know, sure, that's not the last time that's gonna happen. So from here, it's time to head north to the DRANOSH'AR blockade and talk to Gore the Enforcer to find out more about what's going on with the Burning Blade. After you finish your dealings with Thonk and the survivors, it's time to head up to the DRANOSH'AR blockade. On your way through the canyon, you run into a goblin named Rezlak. Now he says he's one of Gazlo's boys, and I'm pretty sure this isn't the last time we're gonna hear that name. He's kind of a big deal. Rezlak says that his boss sent him here to Durotar to help out the orcs. He says everything's good, except for the caravans. He's having a really hard time keeping them safe. The last shipment was snatched up by Dustwind harpies located in Razorwind Canyon. He wants you to go back and retrieve 5 sacks of supplies that were stolen. Now, Rezlak mentions that Gazlo told him once, Rezlak, there's one thing to know in life. If you want something done well, do it yourself. He also told Rezlek that anything can be done with a price. Rezlek can't deal with losing all the caravans and wants you to kill 12 of the Durotar harpies, which he doesn't mind paying you for. I mean, come on, he's a goblin. You really think he's gonna do this himself? He's got the coin. You've got the skills. So you head out to Razorwind Canyon, you kill 12 of the harpies, and you collect 5 of the supply bags. Then you return to Rezlek to report. He says he can breathe now knowing that the harpies won't be bothering their supply caravans anymore. He also thinks you're pretty good at what you do, and says you should track down his boss and Ratchet for some extra work. I guess we'll see what happens when we get there. After your dealings with Rezlek, you make your way to Gore the Enforcer. Upon arriving, you find out that Gore isn't alone. Standing next to him is Shin Stonepillar. Now, you think these two would be friends since they're around each other a lot, right? Nope. Gore can't stand this guy, and it's just as bad the other way around. Shin doesn't agree with how Gore is running things. He says that his actions are hasty. He wants you to listen to his story before you go off and work with Gore. So he starts telling you a story about a wolf. To make a long story short, the wolf was lazy and didn't want to work for his food. He's tired of eating certain animals, so he sets his eyes on Kodo meat. He finds 2 Kodos fighting, waits for one Kodo to kill the other, and then once one of them dies, the wolf walks up to eat it. And just when the wolf is about to start eating, the living Kodo kills him. Okay. Shin says that hasty, lazy actions lead to ruinous results and that we mustn't take shortcuts. He's been trying to tell Gore this for a while, but thinks that his Hellscream worshipping skull is a little too thick to understand. Well, Gore doesn't care, and he says that you should ignore everything that Shin says. Gore says that certain powers that be within the Horde demand that he keeps Shin around. He also says that Shin, a thrall-loving farseer, truly sees no further than the border of this hut. And here's the kicker. Shin doesn't do anything about it. That's the last you ever deal with Shin. Gore put him in his place quick. Speaking of Gore, he's heard of you as the one who handled the Burning Blade situation in the south. He knows this because he mentions that he has ears in all kinds of places and that word travels fast. According to him, the flood wiped out one of the Burning Blade's camps located in the southwest. In that camp was a goblin named Fizzled Darkclaw, and his body is still there, just floating in the water. Now, Gore says we're better off without him around. He mentions that Fizzled Darkclaw had an orb in his possession that the Horde is very interested in. He doesn't know why there's an interest. He leaves that to the Warlocks. All he knows is that he needs that orb. Apart from that, you find out that the army needs drinking water. Gore says that the elements brought plenty of water when the cataclysm hit, but the dead thunder lizards are sitting at the bottom of the canyon, making it difficult, if not impossible, to get any water because of the electrical discharge. He wants you to help the grunts by attaching 8 mageweave tethers to the thunder lizards down in the bottom of the canyon and get them out of the water. That's right. You get to jump into some electrically charged water and not the grunt. Because why not? You're the person that helps everybody. The last thing that Gore tells you is about the elemental conflict in the west. He says that the elements are at war with one another. Normally he wouldn't mind, but he needs that area clear to secure a border shipping route to and from the Barrens. He wants you to go out to the west and kill 12 of the elementals and then report. From here, you head out to go take care of the elemental situation, stop by the flooded canyon and help the grunts by tethering the thunder lizards, and find Fizzled Darkclaw's body in the same canyon. Now there's one problem with the situation. You can't pry the orb from Fizzle's hand, so you have no choice but to cut it off. After all that, you return to Gore. He's really happy that the elementals are taken care of. He's also glad that you took care of the thunder lizards in the water. Leaving them in there to rot would have made the water completely undrinkable. What really tickles him though, is that not only did you retrieve the orb from Fizzled Darkclaw, but you brought back half of his arm. He then goes on to tell you that a shaman named Margaz knows more about the Burning Blade's corruption, and that it would be wise to pay him a visit. He's camped out to the east between the coast and Dry Gulch Ravine. Gore also mentions that your services are requested in Ashara, north of Orgrimmar. We'll have to check that out sometime in the future. So you head out to the southeast to find Margaz the Shaman. Upon arriving, he tells you that he's heard of your exploits in Durotar. He mentions that the Burning Blade has infested a cave east of Orgrimmar known as Skull Rock. Inside, they perform vile rituals and burn their flesh with searing collars. Margaz believes that the cultists attune themselves to demonic powers by wearing said collars. But to confirm this, he needs to have a collection of them to study. Margaz wants you to collect 6 searing collars from the cultists in Skull Rock. So you head out, you find the cave, you kill the cultists until they drop the collars that you're looking for. Then you head back to Margaz to report. Margaz says that he'll be able to uncover the secret of the Burning Blade with these items that you've collected. After attempting to unveil the truth with his powers as a shaman, He can't. He says that the collars you brought him are powerful demonic implements, and that divining their origin is beyond his skills as a shaman. He says that we need a warlock to study them. He wants you to visit Arnek Fireblade, located in the Cleft of Shadow in Orgrimmar. He's a warlock that professes to use his powers to thwart demons. We'll see if he can help us out. Before you leave, you notice an interesting individual standing next to Margaz named Vecnag. He says that his boss Spiketooth sent him to look for help and supplies. He looks you over and realizes that you're not a merchant, but you probably could help him out. He wants you to visit Spiketooth in the southeast near Deadeye Shore. Oh, and he also wants you to tell him that Vecnag sent you so that his boss doesn't think he's just slacking off, even though he's just standing around, doing nothing. Slacking off. So you make your way to Spiketooth and find him standing next to a crashed cart. He's pretty upset that Vecnag sent you without telling you that he needed wagon wheels, nails, and maybe even some rations. Anyways, midway through the conversation, Spiketooth mentions that he has some gladiators. 3 to be exact. He has Ghislania the Naga, Griswold Hanniston the Worgen, and Gar Icehorn the Tonka. Spiketooth starts talking about his first gladiator, Ghislania. She's lost 3 of her last fights and might need a tune-up. Having said that, he thinks that even you are stronger than her. Griswold Hanniston is the second gladiator on display. He was found hanging around the Northwatch soldiers and wants you to fight him just to see if he's worth keeping around. His last gladiator is his prized possession, Gar Icehorn. Spiketooth wouldn't normally keep a Tonka as a captive because of their close relationship with the Horde, but this one's a traitor. He was exiled by his tribe and caught stealing supplies from Valarmok and Ashara. I'm pretty sure we'll hear more about Valarmok later. And finally, he was sentenced to death by the axe. That was until Spiketooth had his wallet in hand and bought him up. He's Spiketooth's strongest gladiator and bets you a fistful of silver that you can't beat him. So you make your way around to each of the gladiators, challenging them one by one, and after you're done winning each fight, you report back to Spiketooth. He's really impressed with you. Doesn't say much about Ghislania. I think he's more disappointed in her than anything. Says he'll keep Griswold around just because he's cheap to feed. But he's really salty when it comes to Gar. He hands you the silver as promised and tells you maybe you should get lost, because he might revisit his policy about keeping Horde as slaves. Like he could really turn you into a slave. But you take his advice and head out to Orgrimmar to visit Arnek Fireblade. Hopefully we'll be able to learn more about the Burning Blade collars that we found at Skull Rock. Upon arriving, you find out that Arnek is a pretty friendly guy. He's curious as to where you got the collars and proceeds to take a closer look. Arnek tells you that he's been searching for sources of demonic corruption within the Orc society ever since the last Great War when the Burning Legion was defeated. This collar, which definitely belongs to the Burning Blade, confirms his fears. He says that your role in this tale is nearly complete and wants you to go to the far watch post on the border to the Barrens in the west. Once there, you'll find his assistant Zeloth and find out more about the secrets of the Burning Blade. Starting off, you speak to Jin Thala. Now, he's a member of the Darkspear tribe, and he says that the trolls have been outcast for a very, very long time. They found themselves fleeing from their homes over and over again. But the Echo Islands isn't just a place to flee to, but rather a place to call home. He says it's time to begin your training, and to talk to Saratha out in the east. Now, each class is going to have their individual trainers, so keep in mind that the name is going to change, but the quest is the same. At the start, you also notice a troll sitting there named Zuni. He too is starting his training, just like you, and he promptly runs away just to get a head start. Upon arriving to Saratha, he says you look pretty intense. He wants to start off pretty simple, so he tells you to attack the Tiki targets until you destroyed 6 of them. So you run off to the side and beat up on 6 of them until they're all destroyed. After returning, Saratha says you have a very natural flow, and that you might have some talent for this kind of stuff. He wants to put your skills to the test, and tells you about the cats on the island that are killing all of the boars. He says that the trolls can't share any of the food with any wild animals on the island, so he wants you to kill 6 wild Maine cats and retrieve their pelts. So you head out, and you kill 6 of the cats to stop them from eating all the boars on the island. I don't know how only killing 6 is gonna do the job, but that's all he wants you to do. After that, you return to Saratha to report. He says that the pelts you brought back are in really good shape, and he could make some very hefty cloaks out of them. Now, Saratha doesn't want to challenge you by beating up on Tiki targets or killing cats anymore. He wants to put you to the test. He instructs you to enter the proving pit and fight a captive spit scale scout. He figures the real test comes when you're fighting something that wants to kill you back. So you enter the pit, you fight the spit scale scout until you eventually kill it, and then you return to Saratha to report. Saratha says that you handle yourself pretty well, and you're gonna gonna be pretty powerful someday. He says that you've turned out to be more than what they expected you to be, and you don't need to be hanging around the new guys anymore. He wants you to report to Vol'jin in Darkspear Hold, so you can lend a hand here and there. Arriving at Vol'jin, he asks if you're the new recruit that everyone's been talking about, and he welcomes you to Darkspear. Now Vol'jin wants to show you exactly why they're on the Echo Islands. You end up seeing a vision of a past event in which Vol'jin and Garrosh Hellscream have sort of a disagreement. In short, Vol'jin tells Garrosh that he doesn't consider him war chief for the trolls, and that he was only given the title of war chief because he's Grom's son, and that the Horde really just wanted a war hero to lead. Vol'jin tells you that the trolls have no business in Orgrimmar, so long as Garrosh Hellscream is war chief of the Horde. Vol'jin tells you that you have a lot to learn, and requests that you go help the people that are living in Darkspear Hold. So as a new resident, you head out to help your neighbors. You first come across SEN'JIN. He says he's really sick and tired of eating boar meat and would like something different, like maybe crab, and asks if you can help out. He wants you to kill 5 pygmy surf crawlers and collect their meat from the eastern coast. So you quickly head out to the coast, you kill 5 of the crawlers and you get their meat, then you return to SEN'JIN. He's really happy that you got him some crab meat. And that's it. Nothing really big there, just a simple act of kindness. You then meet up with Moriah. Now she's really happy that Vol'jin sent you her way. She ends up asking you if you can head down to Bloodtalon Shore and help the people down there move the raptors into their pens. On your way down to Bloodtalon Shore, Zuni catches up with you and hangs out with you for a bit. Upon arriving to Bloodtalon Shore, you meet up with Kijara. She says that the hatchlings are being stolen by someone on the next island. She first thought that they were just running away or that nature was claiming them, but sooner or later she found out that that wasn't the case. She wants you to use the Bloodtalon Whistle over on Zalazane's Fall to the northwest and help bring the hatchlings back over to this island. But before you leave, you speak to Tegashi. Now he's noticed that there's some kind of dark magic on the other island that's corrupting everything. He also thinks he's found the source of all this dark magic. A lone Naga on Zalazane's Fall named Naj'Tes was spotted with a red orb of power. Tegashi wants you to go over there and kill Naj'Tes and obtain that orb. He says that Naj'Tes has been using that orb to corrupt the Bloodtalon raptors. Now as far as the raptors, he says that there's nothing that can be done for them and wants you to give them a swift death. So while you're over there on Zalazane's Fall, he wants you to kill 8 of the corrupted Bloodtalon raptors. So you go out to the island, you kill the corrupted raptors, you also use the Bloodtalon Whistle and save the little hatchlings, and you kill Naj'Tes and obtain the red orb that was corrupting everything. After all that's said and done, you head back to Bloodtalon Shore. Kijara is really happy that the hatchlings are back. Tegashi thanks you for putting down the corrupted raptors and also for killing Naj'Tes. He mentions that the Naga have been enemies of the trolls for a very long time, and that previous encounters with them didn't turn out so well. But what you did today gives them hope and changes things for the future. Now that the problems on Zalazane's Fall are taken care of, Kijara wants you to do her a favor. Moriah back on the mainland has been asking for a few new raptors to train. Kijara has a special one named Swiftclaw that she wants you to capture and then bring over to the pens. So you find Swiftclaw and use the lasso to get on his back, and then you ride him over the bridge onto the mainland and put him back in the pens. Then you return to Moriah to report. She says that Kijara told her that Swiftclaw is a bit to handle, but Moriah is looking for the challenge to train him. She then thanks you as you go on your way. But before you go, you notice some commotion behind you. You run on over and meet up with a troll named Tortunga. Now Tortunga tells you that Vol'jin has called for an all-out attack on the Naga that have taken over the island to the north. Many of the trolls have engaged with the Naga on the bridge, and some of them have broken the Naga lines and attacked them on the island itself. After learning that, he wants you to speak to Jornoon and secure a ride over to Spitscales Cove. Once there, you'll look for a troll named Morokai, who happens to be the captain of the watch. So you jump on the back of a raptor and take it all the way to Spitscale Cove. Upon arriving, you meet Morokai, who tells you that the Naga have committed great atrocities on the trolls, and that it's time to stop showing them mercy. He wants you to enter the cave and kill 12 Spitscale Naga. He also wants to make sure that the Naga have no desire to return to the island. Having said that, he wants you to place 8 territorial fetishes on any Spitscale flags. He says that the reason to do this is that if the Naga approach the flags, it'll weaken them, thereby making them not want to come around this area again. So you enter the cave, you kill the Naga as instructed, and you place 8 territorial fetishes on any of the Spitscale flags that you find. After that, you report back to Morokai. Now Morokai says that you did a really good job. He also says that the sea witch Zarjira is on the top of the island. He's been waiting a long time to get his chance at revenge and says that you have the privilege of seeing it through. He wants you to meet up with Vol'jin on the ramp to the northeast to join the battle. Once at the top, you help Vol'jin fight the sea witch. Now during the fight, your old friend Zuni shows up, and in an attempt to help, he's struck down by the sea witch. After it's all said and done, you get a troll named Vanera to take you back to Vol'jin in Darkspear Hold. Vol'jin says that the power that burst from the sea witch was very immense. Now he says he can use this power to enact a vision of places far away. He wants you to watch as he tries to make contact with the one and only Thrall. Now Vol'jin ends up speaking with Thrall, who's off saving the world because of the Cataclysm. Now Thrall tells Vol'jin that Garrosh can be the hero that the Horde needs. He also tells him to not let these troubled times divide their people. Vol'jin tells Thrall that he'll think about what he said. He trusts Thrall and hopes that one day he'll return as war chief of the Horde. From here, Vol'jin wants you to meet up with Master Gadrin in SEN'JIN village and help the Horde on the mainland. I hope that helped out with understanding what happened in that area. And if this is your kind of content, then consider subscribing to the channel. Also, thank you to the Patreon subscribers for their support. If you'd like to help out with this project, then go ahead and check out the Patreon link down below. Also, feel free to check out any of my other lore summary videos. And we'll see you around when we discover what happens next in the Tales of Azeroth.